Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to be teaching you about abusive relationships. The first thing I want to say about abusive relationships is, in order for a relationship to be abusive, the person has to have some sort of power. The person that it would be considered the abuser has to have some sort of power. So that could be they have a lot of money, or at least more money than you, to the point where they could control you. They could not let you keep any of your money, so they're in control of the money. That means they have power. They could have power within the community. That could be from their just how their family looks at them or their friends look at them, or it could just be from their job. They might have a position of power within the community or in the workplace, for example. Any sort of power that they could have. It could just be that maybe you have an addiction or even a mental health thing like anxiety or depression and they don't. So that could be power as well. And an abuser can be anybody. It doesn't just have to be your significant other. An abuser can be your friend, it could be a family member, it could be a coworker, a boss, of course. It could be somebody in the legal system. It could really be anybody, and especially, there's a sense of power between age as well. So if you're talking about an adult versus a kid, the adult has the power, even in a sense of culturally, men have more power than women, so that could itself be right there. And these are some of the reasons that men tend to be the abusers when we look at statistics. Not all the time, of course, women can definitely be too, but they tend to be because they tend to have more power dynamics going on, right? So, the abusive relationships, unfortunately, are probably more common than we think, and even if you've never been in one, you may have known somebody or suspected somebody is in one as well. So this might not apply to you directly, you might not think, but still listen to what I'm about to say in case it comes up within your family or your friend group as well. So, some red flags. This is important. Red flags to look out for that somebody might be an abuser or might go down the road of being an abuser. A lot of times we don't notice these flags because we're just not kind of trained to look for them. And at first, someone might present as really charming or really romantic. They might have so much focus on you that you feel like for the first time in your life that someone's listening to you, they're seeing you for who you are, they care about you, but those are just tactics as well. So if something seems too good to be true, it's always good to look out for these kind of flags, right? So one of the first flags is somebody has controlling behavior. That means that they in some way are trying to control your behaviors. They are trying to get your phone, to read your messages. They're saying you can't hang out with your friends. They really don't want you seeing your family because they don't like them. And they might make an excuse like, well, your family doesn't like me, so if you love me, you won't see your family. They are trying to control when you come home, that you're not out a lot. They're trying to control how you look, the ways that you dress, of course, your behavior, your community activities that you might do. Let's say you were going to church before and now they don't really want you to go to church, so they're not letting you go to church. And they might be direct about it, just saying you're not going, or they might be manipulative with it, kind of trying to convince you that it's your idea to not go to church. So it's not always that obvious. It might be a more sly, right? You maybe can't wear makeup, can't make decisions about the kids or the household. Maybe you can't get a job, something like that. Like I also said with the money, maybe they're making you give them your paycheck as well. The next sign is jealousy. Someone's overly jealous. I have a lot of clients that have issues with jealousy because of insecurity, right? And so that's one thing, of course, but somebody jealous all the time does not mean that they love you more because they're so in love with you that of course they're going to be jealous. That is not a sign of love. It has nothing to do with love. It's possessiveness. It's a sign that they don't trust you. It's a sign that they're insecure within themselves, and that is not your burden It's not your cross to bear if they're insecure. It's not your problem to fix. Let's say they question you constantly about who you're talking to, and if you show any signs of flirtiness, they're instantly accusatory and jealous. You might not even be flirting. You might just be talking to the member of an opposite sex, and they become jealous. And that could even be your coworker, right? You're at work and you have to talk to your coworker for work purposes, and they become very overly jealous. They could even become jealous of your kids, you spending so much time with them, of your family members. That's where control comes into play, and they don't want you to see them as much anymore. And the jealousy might progress to the point where they're dropping by your work. They are calling you several times a day. That's another kind of form of control too. They're calling you constantly, texting you constantly, and you have to pick up the phone. You have to answer. They might not let you work, right? They might check your car mileage. Once again, with controlling behavior, they'll check your messages, they'll check your Facebook. Maybe they don't want you to have a Facebook, so you can't contact other people. But they're very jealous. The next sign is that they become involved very quickly in your life, or want to become involved very quickly. They want to move things along really fast. So they meet you and now they're in love with you very quickly. They meet you and now you're boyfriend and girlfriend very quickly, or girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend very quickly. I've had people that within a month have met each other and then they're married to each other, right? Met each other and then they're moving in with each other, met each other, they're having a kid together. These are all ways for the person to control somebody. The more involvement that there is, the more easily they can control the person. So they very quickly want to be involved with you as much as possible, and that seems, for some people, of course, like that they love you. They're so in love with you. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. They love me so much. I'm so lucky they want to be with me. I've never felt this much love. I've never had someone that cared about me this much. But it's not caring. It's a sign of abuse. And let's say maybe you don't want to get involved that quickly, but there's some pressure maybe from them that they pressure you into feeling guilt if you don't move quickly. Like you don't love them enough if you don't move as quickly. Okay. Another sign, red flag, is that they have unrealistic expectations of you. They expect you to meet all of their needs. This is also a thing in codependent relationships where that person expects you to fix them, to do everything for them, to meet all of their needs, to be the perfect partner for them, to be everything that they need, if that makes sense. Like they don't need anything else. Or on the other hand, maybe you go into it thinking you don't need anything else, and maybe you have the codependency problem too, where you think this person will solve every problem that I have, or I can fix this person, right? People that get a sense of ego, like they feel good about themselves when they fix other people or try and fix other people, are likely to have people that are abusers seek them out, because it makes sense that if the abuser wants somebody to feel like, if the abuser wants somebody to meet all their needs, they're going to find someone that's codependent that wants to meet all that person's needs. It fits together nicely. It's like almost like you would be a target in that situation. So they want you to do everything for them emotionally at home. They want you to be their everything. And that's not what a healthy relationship looks like. A healthy relationship is not that you guys, it's you against the world, that you fix and solve all that person's problems, or that you're responsible for all that person's problems. Like, you're not supposed to be responsible if that person becomes mad. You don't have to fix it if they become mad. Women especially have the tendency to feel like that. I felt like that for sure in my life, but we are not that. We don't have to do that. You did not make that other person mad. Each person is responsible for their own feelings. If you did something that really did hurt them, absolutely apologize and work through it. But if you were just living your life and going to see your family, for example, and that person's mad now, it's not your responsibility to fix their madness. That's something within them that they need to fix. Another red flag is isolation. So they try to cut you off from everything, everybody. I've had people even cutting their partner off from their kids that were underage, under 18. That is isolation. If you have friends, especially if you have friends of that opposite sex, they try to cut you off from them, try to make you feel guilty about having those other friends, but it's even with family. It's even with family. They try to cut you off from your family, saying that you love them more than you love me. So, by you spending time with them, it's a betrayal of me. They try to cut you off from the community even. People will move out to the country and not have a way to get into the community. They can't walk into town, so they're left in this house. Maybe they don't have internet. They don't have a phone anymore. That would be complete isolation. They don't have their friends and family anymore because they've cut them off. They've driven them away, right? They don't have access to the car. Of course, I've had people that have done something in the car to make it so the person couldn't drive the car when they weren't home, right? When they didn't know where they were going. So they will completely cut you off. And if you feel a sense that they are trying to do that, that is a red flag. If it feels in your gut like they're doing something that is abusive or unhelpful, listen to that. Please listen to that gut feeling. Another red flag is that they blame others for their problems. So this is something that you could see at the beginning of a relationship, and watch out for this kind of thing. If you're with them and they're blaming everybody for their problems, nothing is ever their fault, that is a red flag. They make a mistake and they blame their coworker. They say their job fired them for no reason, right? They are blaming you for everything too, but at first they might not do that. They might blame people that are not you, so that you might not see it as easily that it's a flag. Blaming others for their feelings is another flag. This is what I'm talking about with you're not responsible for their feelings. So they would say, you're making me mad, you're doing this. When you do this, I can't help but be angry, I can't help it. It's not your responsibility how they think or they feel. And these are just ways to manipulate you. Hypersensitivity is another red flag, so that they're easily hurt, insulted. They can say a lot of things to you and expect you not to be upset, but if you say one little teeny thing to them, not even a criticism, just like a feedback on something, like I wish you would take out the garbage more, they will become hypersensitive and hurt and throw like a tantrum, almost like a fit. They will take it as a personal attack, and they will complain about all the injustices you've ever done to them and make you feel guilty about that, make you feel guilty that you have done those things to them. And so you will back down, is their hope, and go, oh, I'm so sorry, I won't do it again, I'm so sorry, right? This, once again, especially happens between men and women, where the woman will back down more easily because we're supposed to be caretakers. We're supposed to worry about people's feelings. So it's very easy to do this. Cruelty to children or animals is another red flag. So if they are just mean, they're mean to, even I will even extend this to, they're mean to their family members, they're mean to their mother, they're mean to their sisters, they're mean to people in their family, and then we kind of write it off like, well, their mom did something bad to them. No, it doesn't really give them a right to be mean necessarily, though. They don't have to be mean, they can be mad, they don't have to be mean. But even further, cruelty to a child, their own children, your children, they're yelling at them, they're spanking them, they might tease a kid, make fun of them. An animal, they might hit an animal, punish them. When they're having a bad day, they're more mean to the animal or the kids. They will take out their problems on the thing or the person that has less power than them. If they're a supervisor, they're mean to their supervisees, the people that they supervise, right? They take out their pain on people that have less power because it's easy to do. It's a classic bully situation. They're the bullies, right? Okay. The next red flag is that it says playful use of force and sex. So this will only happen during sex, and it might seem playful, but they're actually using force during it, and it might start off small. I'm just going to read what this says. It says throwing women down, holding them down, and this could be vice versa too. This could be women with men acting out fantasies where the person is helpless, having fantasies of rape in here, showing little concern whether the woman or the man wants to have sex at all, just kind of demanding sex, or I don't want to say crying, but like sulking or being upset until the person has sex with them. That's a form of manipulation, guilting the person until they have sex, right? Having sex with someone while they're sleeping or while they're tired, demanding sex, are all red flags. Verbal abuse is a red flag, and so this starts off small once again. It might start off as seeming like it's sarcasm, they're just teasing, they're throwing little things at you, and then it becomes full-on name-calling and completely like degrading somebody, right? They will degrade not just you as well though, but like anybody in their life, they'll be verbally abusive too. And they'll make it seem like you cannot function without them, that you're so stupid or incompetent that you can't even live without them. Rigid sex roles is the next red flag, which means that, especially men with women, they want you to be what a woman is supposed to be, quote unquote. That you are inferior to men, that you're supposed to be the housewife, that you are supposed to cook and clean and do everything for them and be subservient to them, which means that you will be their slave. You were supposed to do everything for them, even things that they could clearly do themselves. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is another one, and this is a good one to look out for. 1 minute they're Prince Charming, and the next minute they are horribly mean, and they are exploding, they're angry, they're moody. And some people will say, oh, well, he's only like that when he drinks. That is still not a good thing. That's still not acceptable. Drinking does not give him an excuse or her an excuse to be that person, right? So if their mood shifts, if they're fine and then they have a few drinks and then they're exploding, that is a red flag of things to come, because that could happen later on, where maybe at first he's not doing anything to you, he's just exploding at the bar. That will be taken out on you later at home when he's had a few drinks, or maybe he doesn't even have to have a few drinks to explode. It will be taken out on you later, or your kids. Previous abusive relationships is another red flag. If they have had an abusive relationship in the past, let me tell you, it is likely that they will have one in the future. People say they've changed, he didn't mean to do it, oh, he's so sorry. They'll say, my ex, they pushed me to that, they were such a bitch, and I didn't mean to, or that they were lying. If you have someone contact you that used to date this person and said that they were abusive, believe them, because they probably were. So if they've done it in the past, they'll probably do it now. These things can be changed, but it takes intensive long-term therapy, and that person hasn't been in therapy. I wouldn't trust that they have changed. Threats of violence, so they might not ever do anything to touch you at all, but they will threaten to do it, is a red flag. They will threaten to kill you. They'll threaten to, I'll break your neck, I'll punch you. They'll threaten people around them as well. And they might make excuses for it like it's normal, but it's not normal. Breaking or striking objects is another thing where it's not that you can't easily as tell that it's abuse. Like, people don't necessarily think that that's abuse. That's physical abuse, actually. It's any intimidation like that. Threat of physical violence is physical abuse. So they will throw something at you, near you, they'll break things. That is supposed to be terrorizing someone into submission. Scaring them that I could do this to you. You see this lamp? I could break you just as easily. And that's not okay. Any force during an argument. They might push, shove, hold you back, push you against the wall, break your phone. That is abusive as well. And that's a red flag that they will possibly harm you fully later on. Okay? So think about these things. If you have these patterns in your life that you're noticing, like I said, they start off small. They don't start off necessarily like the person is putting their hands on you. They'll start off little things, and then they build and build and build and build and build. And the more control that person has over you, the more likely they're to do these more extreme behaviors, because they can, and they think they can get away with it. The more they beat you down, the more likely they are to harm you in more physical ways, because they think that they can, right? If anything like this is happening in your life, or to somebody that you know, please use our resources in this county. Please give us a call. Like I've said before, our number is 269-467-1000, and let us know. But also, what I would highly recommend doing is calling DASAS, which is the Domestic Assault Shelter, and they have crisis line, they have helpers, they have women's groups, they have housing for women. Their number is 1-800-828-2023, and I will put these numbers in the information below, as well as our crisis line number, okay? Please, we're here to help you. No one should have to go through this kind of a relationship. It's not fair to anyone, male, female, non-binary. and we're here to break somebody out of those things. Okay, thank you.